see it.
How are students seem to be doing? How do students seem to be doing with it so far? Is it a habit yet? Is it something? Are they pretty consistent about restating their questions?
It was a habit, like when we had it, and then it was like consistently, like, you know, I know this because, or
well, this is a different,
like the restating the question, right? So in the beginning, they really liked it because they wanted points and they wanted the spirit stick.
Yeah, are you referring to the text evidence one?
Yeah, so it was the same one, right? Is that
no, this is a little different. So this is more around restating the question. So imagine you have like, I mean, this can come in the form of your written responses. It can also come in the form of your oral responses. But you know, you ask like, what is the problem in the story, right? Or it's written down here. What is the problem in the story? And they say something to the effect of, the problem in the story is, right? So they're taking the language from the question and using that to restate it as an answer, and really like target and narrow the focus of their responses to what the question was asking. So are you seeing that in the race responses that students are writing? Is that a habit, or are they just kind of going because blank? You know, that's kind of what the misconception that we're trying to avoid.
Right. I think a lot of them are going because, not really restating the question by,
or just saying the what as opposed to saying the problem was.
But a lot of them do write with like, I think this is the answer because, or you know, a lot of them start off their answer like that.
Yeah, the personal I statement.
Right. So.
But I think like what that's part of why we want to shift towards that restating the question is because it puts it in that like kind of neutral third person.
Right.
You know, I think outside of like a persuasive essay or like a direct opinion piece, I think we really want to have them like shifting towards like factual information from the text and supporting that with their own schema.
Right.
But have it be more like direct in its language.
Okay.
The problem was blank. How about solution sentences and things like that in the responses, making traction?
I think that they're good at it in the context of word problems.
Sure.
Not in other.
I mean, how do you see it applying in like a more of a procedural problem? I mean, does it make sense with
I'm
that?
not sure that it does. I guess that would be more oral. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Like explain the question. What is blank? Right, or like you ask a fact, 5 times 6 equals.
So I need to go
and then you ask it of them instead of them saying 30, they say 5 times 6 equals 30.
Right.
Cool. That seems to be a good way to incorporate it. Academic focus is like really embracing the struggle here, the productive struggle that we want our students to engage in, right? Kind of building off of the growth mindset stuff that we heard this morning from Mr. Edwards. We just know that students are more likely to succeed if they can like persist through challenging problems and they can really engage with difficult tasks and push through to the other side there. So academic goal, teachers will be able to script and rehearse the we do, break it down. And teacher actions, planning, we do key points, CFUs before release, types of talk, CFUs during the we do, with timestamps, student exemplars, and key points for each question, scripted and plans. I do one key question to break it down and script break it down questions into that. And then execution, right? Executing the we do, following those scripted plans. And so really what this is, these break it down questions are, if you think about, you know, your central, again, I'll just go back to that example I gave. So say your lesson for that day is identifying the problem in a story, right? If that's the focus question, like the most objective driven question, it's the one that I'm going to kind of culminate the lesson with, then I would plan out some break it down questions that would help them kind of persist through that challenging question. So idea would be, you know, what is the problem in our story? Students don't get it, so I have my break it down questions. What does problem mean? Oh, problem means what the character wants or needs but cannot have. What does the character want? Well, the character wanted to, I don't know, go to the park.
Right.
Why couldn't they have it? Oh, they couldn't have it because, you know, there was someone, you know, they didn't have money to go. You know, whatever it is. I'm trying to invent context as we go here, but you get the idea that, right, I'm like writing a story as we go. You get the idea that you start with that big question, but you have the smaller questions there that you know are going to lead them to success if they can't put it all together on their own.
Right.
Yeah. Any questions on this one? Great. You'll see some student actions here, able to replicate the language of the teachers, think aloud, and use that to come up with a complete answer and respond to the break it down prompts in complete sentences. We've got the cheat sheets. We've got, we'll be providing feedback on the I do and the we do portions of the lessons, and we'll also be using video from the we do to help guide some reflection around it. Word study. So this is kind of a big initiative coming out of some reflections on the data network-wide. We've seen that, you know, like there are domains of standards essentially that call out particular skills, and I believe it is the L7 standard, right, for literacy. I believe that is about vocabulary acquisition. I'm not sure if I got the number right, but that one was consistently low just across the board. And so what the reflection is that we need some more explicit vocabulary introduction, some more explicit word study in order for students to be successful in this area. And so the goal here is for us to huddle up before the Thursday all staff meeting. This will be with G2 through G5. I believe that this is going to be humanities teachers only, although it's not called out for there, but that we would huddle up for about an hour, talk through some of the big priorities coming out of this word study reflection, and kind of set a vision for what this can look like and how it can be incorporated into the blocks that we already have.
Right. Wait, so you're saying we're meeting before PD on Thursday?
Yeah, so yeah, Thursday PD looks a little bit different. We should have had it here on the quick hits. I'm actually going to add that in right now. Thursday we have what's called like an all staff meeting, and so essentially that just means that everybody from all the rocket ship campuses is getting together for like a network wide meeting. So let me just put this on here. Thursday. Were you at the last one?
Yeah.
Describe.
I just said free.
Feel free to be open. Yeah. We did it was like
there was
free
an
drinks.
Activity, but it seemed pretty loose.
Yeah.
Right? People were just kind of hanging out.
Okay.
There were speaker issues. I think there was an attempt.
Speaker issues.
It seemed to be well structured, but there was like, let's just say low buy-in and low volume, which contributed to the low buy-in.
So then did anything get done, or was it just like you kind of hung out and...
But that's also important too.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Right. I think that's like really what the goal is coming out of these is it's just to give people an opportunity to come together, celebrate kind of the accomplishments of the team at large. So that's from 4 to 6, and let me check to see on my invite here. It's at the Corinthian. So the Corinthian is right in downtown. It's right on 3rd Street. Parking is a little tricky, but they should have more logistics on it as we get closer.
Okay.
But yeah, if it goes from 2:30 to 3:30, you should be able to, that will give you a half hour to scoot over to the Corinthian after.
Are you guys going? Do we have to go?
Yeah.
Everyone has to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mandatory.
Okay.
Mandatory fun.
Yay.
Why, are you thinking about not going? Everybody's going to be there. All the cool kids are doing it.
Just thought about sleeping. So.
Had dreams of sleep.
Don't even get me started on dreams, okay?
I know, right? Haven't gotten REM sleep in 3 years.
Oh my god.
Alright.
Let's see. What's next?
Sorry, let me bring it back.
No, you're good.
Alright, we do. Academic goal. So this is just digging a little bit deeper into it. Right, when we go into the we do, we want to have CFUs that are particularly, so we've talked a little bit about before releasing that you're restating those key points and really giving students a purpose for their practice. As you go off to the work today, remember to find the problem. We're looking for what the character wants or needs but cannot have. What are we looking for? Releasing them. Yeah, cool. Then, really big focus here is asking CFUs that are framed in this way. As a good reader, what did blank do, right? So instead of evaluating to the extent that, like, do you agree with his answer, right? Do you agree that the problem was blank? Yes or no? Yeah, you know, the boy wanted to go to the park. He couldn't go. That is less important to us. We want to see students understanding the context, in the content that they're working on, but we want them to be able to pull out the strategies that led the other student to be effective. So if they're evaluating a modeled example from you as the teacher, or if they're evaluating another student example, or if they're even just like you're pushing them to say a little bit more about their own answer, you want to ask questions like this. As a good reader, what did you do? As a good mathematician, what did you do? That's going to help them get to that strategy. And then finally, you stamp that final answer. Make sure that they know that their answer was correct. Yep, that's right. The problem was blank because we looked in the text for what they wanted and needed but could not have. Cool. And a lot of text here.
Oh boy.
All right, here's what
we
we'll
all
do.
read the launcher, so.
Yeah. Take a second to read over. Sure you can turn on.
Del corn.
las tapas.
We had dog food in there. We had to squeeze it in.
Oh, really?
My son's like, what are all these things? I'm gonna talk to you.
So what are you taking away from that?
Just to already have preconceived misconceptions that the students might have, to help them better understand. That way you're also prepared that, okay, if a student has this issue, how can I address it and be prepared for it? But I think the issue for, not an issue, but it's like question that like, how can I prepare for questions? What if they're like, you know, I prepare for one and then it's not even the one that they ask, and that's not the misconception that they have, right?
Wait, what do you mean? So you prepare for questions?
Okay, so I prepare for one misconception, right?
Sure.
Let's,
okay.
I have one, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to look around, I'm going to see if the kids have this one. But then, that's not the one they have, but they do have a misconception, but it's not the one that I also wrote down. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, do you have a take on it?
Well, yeah, I think it's the kind of thing where, like, the more you see student work, the more you can start to get, like better at anticipating misconceptions. But I would say, like, it's good to address things in the moment, but it's also okay for you if you see a misconception that you didn't anticipate, but you know that you're going to be coming back to a similar text or a similar question tomorrow. I would plan it in for the next day.
Okay.
Do you feel fine with that? I mean, it like gives them a 1 day lag, but I think being planned out is better than like not rolling it out.
And I think there's also like, so this really encourages us to kind of lean into those misconceptions and like take them and put them, you know, out in front of students and have students like openly and actively engage with them and evaluate them, right? But there still is also, there are certain misconceptions that you do want to like really evaluate, and there's some that are just, you know, like you're gonna see some answers and some responses that have just like no grounding in any sense of reality, right?
Yeah,
there's no text, there's no reasonable schema, it's, you know, it's just mush, right? If that's the case, you don't necessarily want to spend your time reviewing that misconception. You should make kind of a judgment about which misconceptions can students learn something from. Which show like the kinds of partial understandings that are going to be common amongst the group that I can then leverage to get them to the full understanding.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Looks like you guys got to run. So, looks like we're at the end of the show anyway. Perfect. All right. Thanks everybody. Let me know if there's anything else on the agenda, and see you around the way. See you at 10:30, 11:30.
Okay.
For some step tests.
Oh, and then they transition at 12, just to let you know.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, we're 12 is which?
Huh?
12 is which? What do you guys do at 12?
Transition.
Oh yeah, you switch classes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, see ya.